make sure we're giving Matthew our best attention, please. He's our guest right now. I don't see any phones, which is awesome. Let's keep it that way, please. Otherwise, they're annoying for the rest of the vlog. I'm going to go walk into my office. Okay? Okay, awesome. Take it away now.
Well, thank you. Good morning, students. How's everyone doing? Very good. Yeah, tired. I'm so slowly waking up too. But yeah, like Ms. McGuire said it, I'm Matthew Krastel. I am a person with autism, and I'm here today to share my presentation I call My Autistic Life, a presentation about autism. But just before I go into what it's like since the beginning of my life, I just want to give you students just some definitions of what autism really is. There's really a whole lot of definitions of what autism is, but the main definition is autism is a treatable neurological spectrum disorder which affects between 1 to 150 children, youth, and adults in BC alone. Most people that have autism see things differently than other people, and that's one reason why I got diagnosed with autism. And some people that have autism may have problems learning different subjects anywhere, and that's the second reason to why I got diagnosed with autism. I got diagnosed when I was 2.5 years old. So the beginning of my life, yes, that's me. I was born May 7th, 1998. That's the very first picture that was ever taken of me. So in my preschool years, raise your hands if you students recognize the Child Development Center or have heard of it. Okay, a few of you, yeah. It still exists, it's still in town. I actually went there for preschool. Unfortunately, it's not a place for preschool students anymore, but it's a place where people with special needs and other disabilities, similar to me, would go and just learn new things, doesn't matter what age. So my elementary school years, I did go to Uplands Park Elementary with Miss McGuire.
We went to the Child Development Center together too.
And that's right, yeah. So I've known her since preschool, over 25 years ago now. Uplands Park was a great school as well. So I'm going to talk about that now. So in the first grade, I had a lot of learning problems as well as behavior issues, especially during recess. Now, when you kids were in elementary school, did you ever notice almost every day that you'd see a lot of bad behavior happening during recess or even during your lunch breaks currently? Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are out of control sometimes. Not every day, but trust me, I was one. Especially in my grade 4 year. In my grade 4 year, it was the worst school year ever for me because I got into a lot of trouble for many different things, mainly because I was bullying students at the time. So yes, I did go into the principal's office almost every day. It wasn't great, it was embarrassing. And it took me a lot of time to learn my lessons. But when I got into grades 5, 6, and 7, my behavior slowly improved, at least to the point where I didn't have to go see the principal every single day. Okay, so now your favorite part. My high school years, yes, I did come to this school with Miss McGuire again. We had a lot of great memories here at this school over the years. So I'm going to talk about that now. So when I was U students' age, grade 8, the first day of high school, of course, it's very different. And when you started grade 8 just last month, you realize that you actually meet 2 times more students and friends than what you did in elementary school. It's a true story. And 2 weeks into the first year of high school for me, I made lots of new friends and I actually started to like going to school. Now raise your hand if you kids actually like coming to school. Okay, so, okay, yeah. Well, at least I'm happy some of you like going to school. It's really fun because it's great to get your education, and I actually liked homework and I like taking tests because it's great for your education. You're gonna think about that over the years when you're here in high school till you graduate. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to grade 11 because grades 9 and 10 were just like how I was when I was in grade 8. So in grade 11, there was a big moment in my grade 11 year where I decided on my own to change my life completely. So I'm gonna tell you students a little story. Have you ever had a moment in your life, by raising your hand, ever had a moment where you try to fall asleep, but you couldn't fall asleep because you think about things into your mind that you did in the past that was terrible, but you regret it and want to do better? Raise your hands. Okay, yeah, almost everybody. You know, I'll be honest with you, it happens to almost everybody. And I had that moment just that one night because, like I was telling you a few minutes ago when I was talking to you about my grade 4 year, bullying students, making fun of people, it just wasn't great. So it took me years to think about that and learn my lessons, because I decided to finally learn my lessons by myself, without a teacher, a parent, principal, or pretty much any adult at the time, how to change my life. So guess what? The next day, I came back to the school, felt very emotional and completely in tears, and I apologized to every student that I made fun of or did something terrible with. And then at that time, once my life changed completely, all my friends in high school started becoming great friends to me. And you know, that could be you guys. One day you might go into that road one day, because as you get older, your life changes and your mind changes, and that's what happened to me. So in grade 12, it's obviously the final year of high school, and it's very emotional, and it's going to happen to you students as well for later down the road. But during the 2016 high school award ceremony here, I received something called a School Spirit Award. Now, you're going to hear a lot about school spirit over your high school years here, but I'm going to talk to you more about that in a few minutes. Okay, so yeah, I like to show a little bit of my school photos. So when I was in grade 8, this was me. And when you get into grade 12, you get to wear a high school gown, and it proved to your parents that you are graduating. And that's going to be a big step for you students. It will make me and your teacher, your principal, very proud. So now there's a moment I'm going to share with you. It's called the big step. And the reason I call it the big step is because this gentleman right here, his name is Mr. Mason. He was the vice principal and also a teacher here at the school for 25 years. And he was retiring that same day. And that's me here. It's in my grad gown and all that. So there was a big surprise that came out, and Miss McGuire was at this event too, because we were both graduating that same day. I don't think I see her in the picture though. I don't think I see her, but anyway. So if you notice here, there's a wood plaque right here. It's called the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. You'll probably have noticed it in the school. I don't know where it is now, but I actually have the sample right here. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. That's exactly what I got in my hand right here. So this was my home copy, and the big one there is what's in the school right now. And I was the first student at Wellington Secondary School's history to win the award. Now here's a close-up of it. So obviously now there's more students on here, but yeah, there I am, the first in 2015-16 school year to win the award. Now I'm gonna share a video in just a minute here of the moment when I won that award in the ceremony, because it was a very emotional surprise and very special moment that I think you students should really want to take a look at. Just give me 1 minute here. Whoops.
Which leads me to our final award for today. This is a new award presented for the first time in 2016. This award goes to a student who, much like Mr. Mason, represented the spirit of Wellington and what it takes to be a wildcat. We are awarding a graduate who succeeded in a number of ways in and out of the classroom, showed tremendous growth, leadership, school, and community spirit. The recipient for 2016 has displayed tremendous pride in Wellington, volunteered whenever asked, and often without asking, was welcoming and engaging to all other students with no attention to age, grade, or social group. The student gave countless hours to all activities at the school, large and small, and until today seemed happy service, leadership, and commitment to school and community. And we're very proud of calling it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. The recipient of the 2016 inaugural Tom Mason Wildcat Award is Matthew Krastel.
What did you think of that? Big surprise? Yeah, to be honest with you, I did not see that coming. None of us did. Only the teachers at that time knew that I was going to get that award. But I obviously deserved it because I showed a lot of school spirit to the school, leadership, and like the principal, who was the MC at the time, mentioned leadership and commitment to the school and the community. That's how I won that award. But there's so many ways to show school spirit. So obviously once I graduated, I was very disappointed because just after that video was stopped filming, I was in tears just when I got back to the chair. Because again, it was a big surprise. And after all those years of hard work, I really was just proud of myself to win something as a gift for all the work I did. So a month after that, I worked at a place called Lowe's Home Improvement. It's now called Rona, but in the same company ever since then, and still to this day, and I still load heavy stuff into people's vehicles. That's my main job. And I do enjoy the job. It's been 8 years now being there, and it's a really great job. Now, there's one question I want to ask you students, and I really want you to think about this until you graduate grade 12. How can you show school spirit to this school? How can you show it? Like maybe something you may want to write down, but I don't need to hear answers because it's going to take you till grade 12 to answer that question. And you know what? If you think of an answer to that question, maybe you might win the Tom Mason Wildcat Award like me. It's still continuing on throughout the rest, like Wellington's future. So maybe it might be you if you think of that question. And you really got to do research, but you might find an answer to it. There's lots of answers to that question. Okay, so to finish up, if this is the time now where if anyone has any questions regarding the presentation, now would be the time. If anyone has any questions? No? No questions? No? Really? No questions? Ms. McGuire, do you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I want to know what it was like for you, Matthew, trying to make new friends again when you went from elementary school to high school.
Sure. It was very difficult. From elementary to high school, especially elementary school, was tough because there was hardly anybody that has autism like me. Actually, the only friend I could really think of that was pretty much similar to me was actually Miss McGuire's brother, who has a disability, who I haven't seen in many years. I really connected with him the most in elementary school. But then in secondary school, when I was you students' age, it was a lot easier because, again, I meet 2 times more students from different elementary schools, not just my elementary school, Uplands Park, but there was Rock City, Departure Bay, Koltai. All those students all feed into the school, and even today it's like that. And it's always going to continue like that every year. So yeah, there were in times in the past where I didn't meet the right friends because they would either make fun of me or make me do things stupid. And I obviously, if my parents found out, I would have been in big trouble. So over the years, it seemed easier because not just when we have international students joining our country and coming to the school for just a year, there was also times where new students from other cities in this country come to this school. So yeah, you do meet a lot more students, not just in grade 8 level, but grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. You'll have more friend connections because there are always going to be new students coming to the school every year, if that makes sense. Yes?
What was your favorite class in high school?
I would say, so my favorite subject, you could probably think of it that way. I would say my most favorite subject is physical education. I love PE class. I'd say my least favorite obviously was mathematics. I'm not a math person, I'm sorry. For those who like math, I'm sorry, no offense, I don't like math. But I can share one memory I had here. When I was in grade 12, PE, I actually took PE twice not because I failed it, but I peer tutored an all-ladies PE class. Yes, it was embarrassing because it was all girls and I'm the only guy as a peer tutor. So the only one memory I'll never forget was one day, when you are in PE class now, do you guys do what they call an emerald run? Yeah. Run around emerald? Oh yeah, so even when I was still in high school, we did it. So one time, just when we were about to start class for the day, I was so silly. I overheard a student whisper to another student, "Oh, I hope we don't do an emerald run." And when I heard that, I said, "That's a great idea." So yeah, she shouldn't have said it. So yeah, and the teacher said to me, "You pick what they should do to warm up." And I said, "I heard the girls say don't do an emerald run." And I said, "That's a great idea." So it turned out, yep, we're doing an emerald run. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Not just running, but the sports are great too. I've learned a lot of sports just in this school. So I really enjoyed, I'd say it's just PE is my most favorite. Yep.
When did you realize that some of your friends had bad influences on you?
I think at the point where, mainly just in high school is where I remember it the most, is when they ask me to do things that I know is just not right. So it's kind of like an impractical joker or something like that. Because there are students out there in this town who are like that. And yeah, over the times here, I've had those moments, and it's just not right. So it was hard for me to find the right group to hang out with. So for me, instead of finding a group, I just walked around to pretty much everybody and just walked around the school and just said, "Hey, how's it going?" And that's how I got to know like hundreds of students, almost every student, because they just enjoy who I was, even though I didn't see them for very long. And I hardly ever visited students like outside of school. I didn't, because my parents are so strict that I was just too shy to tell them who my friends were. That's another example too I can mention on that as well, because growing up in a strict household is actually a good thing. Unfortunately, there's not many strict parents out there anymore. But my parents were very strict, and as soon as they found out from the school principal at the time, if I was out of control just by a group of friends that were also out of control making fun of me, yeah, my parents would blame it on me because I didn't find the right friends, if that makes sense. Anyone else have any questions?
I have another question.
Okay, sure.
What was learning like for you by the time you got to high school? Did you get a lot of help from teachers and friends?
Ooh, yes.
Or were you a little bit more independent? What was your learning like in high school?
Okay, so there's actually a big difference to that.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school in grades 1 to 7, I actually had an educational assistant actually with me the whole time. just until grade 7. And then when I started coming here, I couldn't have an educational assistant. I had to actually go through it just on my own, but with peer tutors that you would have in the school even today. That's how I had to, learn in class. However, I did have one EA that I remembered that obviously retired years ago, but she wasn't with me the whole time. That's the difference. In elementary school, the educational assistant was with me all day, every day, 5 days a week. But in high school level, it's a lot different than that. But I did, however, after school, a few days a week, I had an educational assistant come to my house just to help me with homework. So kind of like a private tutor. And that's how I was able to go through school, pass my grades. And in grade 12, I did a big step where I didn't need an educational assistant or have a private tutor come after school. I did it all by myself throughout my entire grade 12 year, and guess what? I got straight A's all the way through grade 12 and made the principal's list. That's the big difference, because I liked homework, I did all the tests, and true enough, I paid attention to the teachers, and that's what happens. If you pay attention and focus on Miss McGuire all the time, she may give you an A grade or 100% grade. If you work hard, that's how you can achieve that.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, anyone else have any questions? Last call for questions? No? Okay.
Can we give Matthew a round of applause?
Yeah, thank you. So, Ms. McGuire, I forgot to bring my information cards, but when I come tomorrow, I'll make sure I give you a whole bunch so the students can have them. So you can find me, Matthew Krastel, on YouTube. I have videos of my presentation on YouTube, as well as train videos, because I'm a big train guy. Fire engine videos, and if you like music, everybody likes music, right? Yeah, I've done choir music just from home, and I just feed it in just for myself at home, and I really enjoy doing that. So something you might want to check out later. So yeah, thank you very much, Ms. McGuire, for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Matthew. Great. So we're going to watch Matthew's presentation now for 20 minutes or so. And then we're going to turn for questions and stuff. If you have any questions for Matthew, I would just like to remind all of you that Matthew is our guest. We want to give him the best attention that we can, which means no cell phones. It's like a one and done scenario. If I see your phone out, I'm taking it. It's going to walk to my office until the end of the class. Okay? So keep your phone away. Give your attention to Matthew, please. We'll be respectful as we are to each other in the classroom. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, Ms. McGuire. Good morning, students. How's everyone doing? Very good. So like she said, I am Matthew Krastel. I am a person with autism, and that's my main topic of my presentation today, is teach you autism, as well as telling you guys a bit about my life with autism growing up in school. But just before I talk about my life, I just want to explain what autism is, because you may question to me, what is autism? Well, I have 3 definitions of autism. The main definition is autism is a treatable neurological spectrum disorder that affects between 1 to 150 children, youth, and adults in British Columbia alone. Most people that have autism see things differently than other people. That's one reason why I got diagnosed with autism. And some people that have autism may have problems learning different subjects anywhere. And that's my second reason to why I got diagnosed with autism. I got diagnosed with autism when I was 2.5 years old, almost 25 years ago. So I was a very young person when I got diagnosed. But people can get diagnosed at any age, not just when they're very little. So the beginning of my life, that's me as a newborn, born on May 7th, 1998. That was the first picture that was ever taken of me. So in my preschool years, raise your hands if you students recognize this building, the Child Development Center, or have heard of it. Okay, a few of you. Yep, great, hands down, thank you. That was where I went to preschool. It used to exist as a preschool, but unfortunately it's not used as a preschool anymore. But it's a place where people with disabilities of any age will go and learn new things in a special way. That's what this place is. It's not far from our Nanaimo Regional General Hospital. And actually that was where I met Miss McGuire, because her and I, we've been friends and went to school together, both here and elementary and the Child Development Center for over 20 years. And I'm going to share more memories as well in a few minutes. So in my elementary years, I did go to Uplands Park Elementary School, and so did Miss McGuire too. Any students here that did go to Uplands Park, raise your hands. Okay, a few of you, that's great. Yeah, it's a great school and a great mascot, of course. I remembered when I started at Uplands Park, our mascot was the unicorns. It wasn't the Panthers yet until 2009, I believe it was. Okay, so I'm going to talk about elementary life now. So in the first grade, since the beginning of the first grade, I had a lot of learning problems as well as behavior issues, especially at recess. So if you obviously have seen, I don't know, here or in elementary school, if you can remember, where you're outside having recess and lunch break, and you notice a lot of bad behavior happening to other students. You probably have seen it. But for me, it happened to me a lot, especially in grade 4. In grade 4, it was the worst school year because I got into a lot of trouble from the school principal for many different things. But the main reason of it was because I used to bully students. I used to make fun of students. I used to fight with students all the time in the grade 4 year. And I got sent to the principal's office almost every day. It was very embarrassing. And yes, Miss McGuire does remember some of it because she's witnessed some of it. And I feel bad for myself. But in grades 5 to 7, it slowly improved for my behavior. But not 100%, but at least to the point where I didn't have to go to the principal's office almost every day. So at least that's a plus. Okay, your favorite moment. High school years. Yes, I did come to this high school. It's a really great high school, home to the Wildcats. I really support the Wildcat team, even though I graduated. So I'm going to talk about that now. So when I was used to kids' age in grade 8, of course, the very first day of high school is very different because you meet 2 times more students than you did when you're in elementary school. You've probably seen that difference ever since last month. So, but because of that, 2 weeks into my first year of high school, I made lots of new friends because of it, and I also started to like going to school. Now raise your hands if you students like coming to school. Wow, great, a few of you. Well, half, okay, yeah, I got one so-so. Okay, that's okay, thank you. I actually like coming to this school. Not just because of the friends I met and the activities, but I actually, not gonna lie, I liked homework and taking tests. It's actually good for you and it's good for your education. Now I know Miss McGuire would agree too, that homework is good because it's good for your learning. So I'm gonna jump to grade 11 because grades 9 and 10 were the same as in grade 8. But in grade 11, there was a big moment in my grade 11 year where I decided on my own to change my life completely. So I'm going to tell you all a little story. Have you ever had a moment in your life, by raising your hand, have you ever had a moment where you're trying to go to sleep, but you somehow never could fall asleep because you think about things into your mind that you did in the past, that you did bad, that you wish you could have done better? Raise your hands. Yeah, you know what? It happens to everybody. Yeah, even a teacher too. And yeah, thank you, hands down. I had that moment, and it was thinking about the time back, again, when I was talking to you a few minutes ago about grade 4, where I was bullying students. That came into my mind that one day. So unfortunately, I had to really think about what I can do, to change that. So usually doing this requires a lot of help by a teacher, your parents, a principal, a lot of different things. But for me, I actually did it by myself. Because guess what? I went back to school here the next day, first thing in the morning, and I was very emotional. I was in tears because I wanted to prove to everybody and apologize to all the students that I made fun of or did something terrible over the years. And true enough, they forgave me, and then they gave me all my respect. And then once my life changed completely, all my friends in high school became amazing friends to me, and that's the reason why. It makes a big difference to apologize for the things you've done in your past and wish you could do better. So in grade 12, of course, it's the final year of high school, and it's very emotional. I was super emotional, and I still feel it sometimes, especially visiting here today. It's just very emotional to think about all the memories I've had here. During the 2016 high school awards ceremony, I received something called a School Spirit Award. Have you ever heard that term, school spirit? Some of you may not, some of you, yeah, okay, yeah, a few of you. Yeah, school spirit is very important in the school, not just at this school, but every school should have school spirit. But the question is how? So this is me when I was in grade 8 here at this school, and when you get to grade 12, you're gonna wear a nice gown and get a nice picture just like I did right there. And it feels crazy that it's already been 8 years since I graduated at this high school. Okay, so this is what I call the big step. And the reason I call it the big step is because this gentleman here, this was actually at the graduation ceremony, and Miss McGuire was at this ceremony as well. You can't see her in the picture, unfortunately. I know she's somewhere over there in that crowd.
Yeah, I'd be somewhere.
Yeah, you were probably way on the right side.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gentleman here, his name is Mr. Mason. He was not just a teacher at this school, but also a vice principal. And he taught at this school for 25 years. And he was retiring that same day we were graduating. And right here is what we call the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. It was awarded to me, that's me right here, because I showed, once again, school spirit for leadership and commitment to the school and community. And true enough, I actually brought my trophy right here. Hope you guys can see this. Pretty neat. I'm glad to actually win this award, and it was actually a big surprise. Here's a close-up of it in this school. I don't know where it is now, because I got here a little bit before your lunch break, and I was looking around all the wings, and I couldn't find it. But yeah, I was the very first student right there in Wellington Secondary School's history to win the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. And there's still other spots now that obviously they're now taken, because it lives on for the rest of Wellington's future. Now, I'm going to be playing a video in just a minute here. I'm going to share with you all the moment when I actually got this award, because it was actually a very emotional moment and surprise. And I think you students will feel the same too when I show you it. Okay.
Which leads me to our final award. This is a new award presented for the first time in 2016. This award goes to a student who, much like Mr. Nixon, represented the spirit of Wellington and what it takes to be a Wildcat. We are awarding a graduate who succeeded in a number of ways in the classroom, showed tremendous growth, leadership, school, and community spirit. The recipient for 2016 has displayed tremendous pride in Wellington, volunteered whenever asked, not when not asked, was welcoming and engaging to all other students, no intention to age, grade, or social group. The student gave countless hours to all activities at the school, large and small, and until today seemed happy with only a school t-shirt for thank you. The plaque to this award reads, awarded to a Wellington graduate for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to school and community. And we are very proud of calling it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. the 2016 and inaugural Tom Mason Wildcat Award is Matthew Krastel.
What did you think of that moment? Very surprising. Yeah, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. That was honestly a big surprise because none of us except the teachers at the time were expecting this moment to happen. And even Mr. Mason didn't know until right at that moment. Come on. And also, when I just got back to my seat after the video was taken, I was crying because, in a happy way, because I knew that I did something right to this school. And one day, it could be anybody else. So obviously, I also felt disappointed to leave all my friends I've known for a very long time, because after that moment, when you have your graduation ceremony, you're all going to split up and move on to different chapters of your life, whether it's university or it could be just working a full-time job. What I did a month after that was I got a job. It was called Lowe's Home Improvement at the time, but in the same company, but we changed our name to Rona. So for the last 8 years, I've been loading stuff into people's vehicles for my main job. And even today, I really enjoy my job. It's a really great company to work with. Now, this is the one question I really want you to think about until you graduate high school, and I think hopefully I can get Miss McGuire to make sure you guys write this question down later. How can you show your school spirit to the school? How can you do it? Because the reason I won that Tom Mason Wildcat Award was I thought of that question. How can you show school spirit? Because there's a lot of answers to that question. I don't need to hear answers today, but it's something you really should think about, and maybe you might win this award when you graduate. It could be you. But you have to think about that question really good and really do a lot in this school in order to actually win this award. Because if I hear about you winning this award, I know you've followed this question and you found the answer and you achieved it. So now is the time where if anyone has any questions about my presentation, now would be the time. And anyone have any questions? No? Yeah, sure.
I would like you to explain to me what life was like when you went from elementary school to high school and you had to make like a whole bunch of new friends and kind of change your life. What was that like? What was the impact like?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, when we finished grade 7, I was sad to leave elementary school, but then I realized a few months later, coming to the school for the first time, yeah, I was nervous when I started grade 8 here. I bet you all of you were too last month. But actually, I was a little nervous just to, know where to go to classes, because it's not just one classroom for, your whole school year. So I was able to slowly get used to that, but then I realized after the first day of school, where we had, orientation and link crew at the time, it was actually very easy for me to connect with more students, because once again, you meet 2 times more students here in high school level because all the elementary schools feeding in. But some of the friends I met, they're not right for me because of the way they behave. Because sometimes they bully me, make fun of me, or make me do impractical jokes, which just didn't seem appropriate. So what I did was I just walked around every lunch break and just said hi to almost everybody. And that's how I got to connect with more people And I still know most of them even now as an adult to this day, just connecting with them on social media, and they all still think of me. And I know Miss McGuire thinks of me because I've known her for over 20 years, and we're still great friends to this day.
So
And-
how did you know those friends maybe weren't right for you? What was some of the things that they were doing that made you know, oh, I probably shouldn't be friends with them?
The things I can definitely remember was, doing things that is stupid. Stupid tricks that you shouldn't do. Saying things that just verbally that you think is funny, but it's really not. It took me time to learn my lessons on that. That's all I can really think of for stupidity. But I learned better because, especially after apologizing to everybody after grade 11, my grade 11 year, everybody just started becoming great friends to me. And even the grade 8s at that time, when Miss McGuire and I were in grade 12, I've seen younger students at that time trying to do things stupid, but they just weren't my friends because they just weren't the right people to connect with. So,
Okay, and
any-
my last question that I had for you.
Okay.
You said you struggled a little bit when you were in elementary school with learning and with
Yes,
schoolwork.
that's right.
What did that look like for you in elementary school, and then how did that change when you got to school?
Yeah, so in elementary school, throughout my entire elementary school years from grades 1 to 7, I had an educational assistant that worked with me and watched me the entire school day, every day, from grades 1 to 7. Which back then, it was a little embarrassing, but actually at that time, I actually knew Miss McGuire's brother, who was the only person I knew that actually had a disability similar to me. But everybody else just didn't have autism, and they're all questioning me like, you don't have autism. And even people today, as an adult, I tell them I have autism, and like, no, you don't, I can't see it. But here's the thing, you can't tell. Yeah, I see things differently, and I think things different, but there's other reasons to it, but you can't see it. But in high school, I did have one educational assistant, but here's the difference. She wasn't with me my entire classes. It was only for just a few classes. So it's a lot different there, just to help me succeed through school. So that went on from grades 8 to 11. But in grade 12 was the big test. I told my parents I wanted to test myself without an educational assistant for grade 12. And guess what? I paid attention, I focused on my homework, got everything done, and I made it to the principal's list. Got straight A's on my report card in semesters 1 and 2 of grade 12. And yeah, I made it to the principal's list, and I never saw that coming because I didn't realize I could do that all by myself after years of being in school. So it was really an amazing moment. And also I had private tutors come to my house almost every day after school, except on weekends, just to help me with homework from grades 1 to 11. And grade 12, again, was the big test because I was able to do it all by myself because I liked homework and taking tests, which I know seems silly, but it's actually a good thing because I learned how to learn through education, which you'll learn too as you progress to grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. Didn't you had a question?
Yeah, who was your grade 7 teacher at Uplands?
Oh, Mr. Etner was my grade 7 teacher. Yes, I think he's still teaching there now. Yeah, I have known him for a very long time. He was a good teacher, but the only memory I had with him was he banned a game we played in the forest. I can't remember what it was, but we banned it, and it wasn't my fault because I was the only one that behaved good, and everybody else was disrespecting the rules. But he taught me how to run the sound system at Uplands Park, because I used to be a sound person at Uplands Park and here at Wellington as well. And I still remember how to set it up to this day up here and at Uplands today. And it was all thanks to Mr. Etner. So I haven't talked to him in a while, but I always remember him and I'll never forget him. Anyone else have a question? Yeah.
How did your parents help you through the big step?
The big step, well, I will say kind of on the big step, because the big step is usually working towards inside the actual school, not outside of it. But I think my parents did help me because I grew up in a strict household. My parents, even today, are super strict. But that's a good thing because they're helping me, succeed in life. And even now as an adult, because I'm now 26 years old, I was able to, move out on my own after high school. And I still live all by myself today. I'm not living with my parents anymore. But because I was able to move out at the age of 18, it was all thanks to my parents too, because they helped me succeed in life and help me learn my education with educational assistance over the years, if that makes sense. Anyone else have any questions? No? No other questions?
Okay, if we don't have any
Okay.
questions, then I'm going to get us all to give Matthew a big thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Applause, please.
Thank you. Just one more thing before I finish. I have information cards here that I'm going to get your teacher to give to you guys. So if you search up my name, Matthew Krastel, on YouTube, not now because you know the phone rule, but later today if you want, you can search my name, Matthew Krastel, on YouTube, and you can see me on YouTube with not just my presentation videos here, but if any of you students like trains, fire engines, music, come on, everybody likes music, right? I like doing choral music at home. And I do solo music just for like vocal style at home also, that you can also check out on my YouTube. And I sing some pretty interesting songs. So I'm just going to give them out to the teacher. And yeah, thank you very much. And thank you again, Ms. McGuire, for having me.